The massive windows of Unity Point Space Station displayed the vast darkness of space, dotted with countless stars. Inside the Grand Council chamber, Ambassador James Walker stood tall, his gray suit neat and simple compared to the colorful robes of the alien representatives around him. "We will not accept these terms," he said quietly. His words carried across the room, causing several alien representatives to shift uncomfortably in their seats. The council head, a tall blue-skin being called Representative Smith, leaned forward. "Ambassador Walker, surely you understand our concerns. Humanity's rapid progress is unprecedented. The council must ensure stability." Walker looked around the circular chamber. 12 alien species observed him with various types of eyes, some large and black, others compound and reflective, a few glowing with inner light. He had spent 3 years in this chamber trying to make them understand. Today would be different. 3 years ago, Walker began, we came to you with evidence that the drift, the dead zone at the edge of our galaxy, was expanding. We showed you our research on how to stop it. You ignored us. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. The drift was a sore topic. 2 years ago, Walker continued, we offered to share our gravity manipulation technology with all council species. You refused, saying it would upset the balance of power. That technology could have prevented the mining accident that killed thousands on Proxima Beta last month. Several representatives looked down at their desks. The mining disaster was still fresh in everyone's minds. 1 year ago, we warned you about the star in Sector 7, showing signs of instability. You dismissed our findings. 3 months ago, that star went supernova. 2 colony worlds had to be evacuated with barely enough time. Walker paused, allowing his words to sink in. He could see the council security drones hovering near the ceiling, their sensors focused on him. The air was thick with tension. "And now," he said, his voice growing stronger, "you demand that we limit our research. You insist that we slow down our expansion. You want us to share all our technology, but accept your restrictions on how we can use our own innovations." Representative Smith raised a hand. "Ambassador, please understand. The Council has maintained peace for 3,000 years by carefully managing technological advancement. Your species has achieved in 2 centuries what others took millennia to develop. It creates instability." Walker smiled, though there was no humor in it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal disc, his council membership badge. The simple motion caused several security drones to drift closer. "No," he said, placing the badge on the podium before him. "What creates instability is the fear of progress. What causes suffering is the suppression of solutions for a safer future. What kills people is the arrogance of assuming that slow must mean wise." The chamber fell completely silent. Even the usual hum of the environmental systems seemed muted. Humanity reached for the stars because we dreamed of a better future. We developed our technology to solve problems, not to gather power. We offer to share everything we learned, asking only for the freedom to keep learning. Walker stepped back from the podium. "But you don't want partners. You want subjects." Representative Smith stood up quickly. "Ambassador Walker, this is most irregular. Perhaps we should take a recess." "We're done here," Walker said simply. He turned and walked toward the chamber's massive doors. Behind him, voices began to rise in alarm. "Ambassador, you can't just... This is unprecedented. The protocols clearly state." Walker didn't look back. The doors slid open before him, revealing the startled faces of his staff waiting outside. As the doors began to close behind him, he heard Representative Smith's voice rise above the growing chaos. "Do they not understand what they're doing? They can't just walk away from the council. The doors sealed shut with a soft hiss, cutting off the noise. Walker looked at his staff and nodded once. "Send the signal," he said quietly. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Humanity is going its own way." Above them, through the station's transparent dome, the first human ships could be seen breaking formation, their engines flaring bright against the darkness of space. As they turned away from Unity Point, the galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most powerful action was simply walking away. The council chamber erupted into chaos the moment the doors closed behind Ambassador Walker. Representative Smith stood at his podium, watching his carefully managed galactic order crumble before his eyes. "Order! I demand order!" he shouted. But his voice was lost in the storm of arguments filling the chamber. The bird-like council member from the trading world screeched, "Our markets will collapse. Humans handle 40% of all galactic trade. Their defense fleets protect 3 major trade routes." The rock-skinned member from the Mining Confederation growled, "Who will guard our ships now?" Smith watched the massive display screens around the chamber as they showed hundreds of human ships activating their engines. The vast fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship knowing its place. No panic, no rush, no confusion. This was planned. "They can't do this," whispered his assistant Tom, who stood beside him. "No species has ever left the council. There aren't even any rules for it." Smith's fingers tightened on the podium. "That's exactly what makes this so dangerous. They're not breaking rules. They're ignoring them completely." The chamber's AI announced in its calm voice, "Alert. Human trading systems are going offline. Stock markets across 57 worlds are showing significant drops." The representatives turned to their data screens in horror. Numbers flashed red across every display. The galactic economy had been so tightly tied to human innovation and trade that their withdrawal was like pulling a foundation stone from a tower. "Look!" shouted someone, pointing at the massive windows. The human diplomatic vessel, sleek and silver, detached from Unity Point's docking bay. Its movement was smooth, deliberate. Around it, other human ships formed a protective escort. No weapons were active. No threats were made. They simply left. "Get me Earth's government on the line," Smith ordered. The chamber's AI responded after a moment, unable to connect. "All diplomatic channels with Earth have been suspended." The rock-skinned representative slammed his crystalline fist on his desk. "We should stop them. The council fleet would be wiped out," interrupted the military advisor, speaking for the first time. All heads turned toward the scarred veteran, who rarely participated in discussions. "Human ships have technology we've never seen. Half of our advanced weapons are human-made. We'd be starting a fight we couldn't win." Smith watched another screen showing reports flooding in from across the galaxy. Human research centers were shutting down. Their peacekeeping forces were withdrawing from joint operations. Their engineers were leaving vital infrastructure projects. "They're not just leaving," he realized aloud. "They're taking their whole civilization with them. Everything they built, everything they maintain, everyone who works for them." The trading world's representative fluttered into distress. "The new medical facilities on my world, they're staffed entirely by human doctors. Who will run them now?" Similar cries began to rise from other representatives as they received reports from their home worlds. Projects halted, systems failing, markets crashing. Centuries of progress beginning to unravel in hours. Smith's assistant looked up from his data pad, face pale. "Sir, we're getting word that some of the younger council races are questioning their membership. They're saying if humans can leave." "Get me any human official," Smith ordered. "Anyone at all." Still no response on any channel, the AI reported. "However, I am receiving an automated message from Earth. Play it." A simple text message appeared on the main screen. "Humanity thanks the Galactic Council for 3 centuries of cooperation. We will now pursue our own path. Our borders remain open to peaceful trade and scientific exchange with individual species, under new treaties to be negotiated directly. Farewell." Smith sank into his chair as the council chamber descended further into panic around him. Through the windows, he watched the last human ships vanish into fold space, leaving only stars behind. "What have we done?" he whispered to himself. "What have we done?" Admiral Thompson stood in Earth Defense Command's main control room, watching the massive wall of screens before him. Each screen showed human ships breaking away from different parts of Council space, all moving with perfect precision. Operation Walkway is proceeding exactly as planned, his second-in-command, Captain Rogers, reported. All ships report green status. No Council interference detected. Thompson nodded slowly. 5 years of secret preparation were paying off. Every ship knew its role. Every crew understood their part. Humanity had hoped they would never need this plan, but they had made sure they were ready. "What's the status of the Mars shipyards?" Thompson asked. "Already switched to independent power." Rogers replied, "The new fusion cores are online. Production continues at full capacity." Another officer spoke up from her station. "Sir, we're getting reports from our colonies. All 37 worlds have activated their shield systems. Our borders are secure." Thompson allowed himself a small smile. The Council had never known about the planetary shields. They had never known about many things. Humanity had learned long ago to keep their best technology hidden. On the main screen, a map showed human space glowing bright blue against the darkness. It wasn't the largest territory in the galaxy, but it was the most efficiently used. Every world was connected by instant transport gates. Every resource was carefully managed. Every citizen was protected by technology the Council had never imagined. "Message from Earth government," the AI voice announced. "The President is ready to address the people." The screen switched to show the President standing at her desk in the Oval Office. Her face was calm as she looked into the camera. "Citizens of Earth and all human worlds," she began. "Today, we have left the Galactic Council. This decision was not made lightly, but it was made with absolute certainty." Thompson watched the speech continue, knowing similar scenes were playing out across human space. They had practiced this too, keeping people calm, explaining the reasons, showing that everything was under control. "Sir," Roger said quietly, "we're picking up increased Council fleet activity at their border stations." "Let them watch," Thompson replied. "They'll soon learn their sensors can't penetrate our space anymore." Another little surprise we kept to ourselves. The control room hummed with activity as reports continued to flow in. Trade ships docking safely at human ports, research stations switching to secure networks, and defense platforms moving into final positions. "Admiral," a young officer called out, "we're getting requests from some of the younger Council races. They want to maintain trade relations outside of Council control." Thompson nodded. They had expected this. Some of the newer species had always been more friendly to humans, more open to new ideas. They would be good partners in the new age that was coming. "Message from Ambassador Walker," Rogers announced. "He's aboard his ship and heading home. His exact words are, 'It felt damn good to walk away.'" A quiet chuckle ran through the control room, and everyone there understood that feeling. For too long, humanity had watched the Council hold back progress. For too long, they had seen solutions ignored and help rejected. Now, they were free to move forward at their own pace. "Sir," another officer reported, "all human citizens have been accounted for. The evacuation of Council space is complete. No one left behind." Thompson looked at the screens again, at the streams of data, showing everything going according to plan. Humanity had learned something important during their centuries among the stars. Sometimes the strongest position was being ready to walk away. "Send word to all commands," he ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. We build our future, our way." Around him, the control room crew worked with quiet efficiency. Each person knew they were part of something historic. Humanity wasn't just leaving the Council. They were proving they had outgrown it. And somewhere, out in Council space, all powers were about to learn just how much they had depended on the species they had tried to hold back. 1 week after humanity's departure, the trading world of Blue Haven felt the first real shock. The massive transport gates that had moved ships across their system suddenly shut down. No warning, no explanation, they just stopped working. "What do you mean we can't fix them?" demanded Governor Rout, turning to his technical team. His blue feathers bristle with anger. These gates are essential to our economy. The lead technician spread his forearms helplessly. The gates are human technology. They added something to the power cores that we never understood. Without their engineers on the mining world of Stone Deep, similar problems were emerging. The automated drilling machines, created by human engineers, began to slow down. Their self-repair systems, once perfect, started to fail. The rock chief of Stone Deep stared at the production numbers on his crystal display. They dropped lower each day. His people had forgotten how to mine without these machines. They had grown too dependent on human innovation. In the council chamber on Unity Point, Representative Smith read report after report of similar problems. "How did we not see this coming?" he asked the empty room. His assistant, Tom, entered with more bad news. "Sir, the Trade Federation of New Worlds has just announced they're leaving the council. They've already signed independent treaties with Earth." Smith's head snapped up. "They can't do that. The council means nothing to them now," Tom finished quietly. "They say humanity has shown there's another way." Across council space, the pattern repeated. Systems failed, trade slowed, and younger species began to question the old order. On the frontier world of Green Rise, a council peacekeeping fleet demanded entry to the system. They wanted to show that the council still held power. They weren't expecting what happened next. "Sir," reported the fleet captain, "our weapons won't activate. The targeting systems are locked." The council admiral stared at his own useless controls. They had never known that their best weapons, sold to them by human corporations, had hidden safeguards. Now, those weapons simply refused to work against human allies. In the great libraries of the ancient races, scholars made a disturbing discovery. They found that humans had quietly copied every book, every record. Every piece of knowledge the council had collected over thousands of years. But the humans had also added to that knowledge, filling in gaps, correcting errors, and advancing ideas that the council had abandoned. They didn't just take our knowledge, one scholar realized. They improved it, and now they're gone. The council's emergency meeting was interrupted by news from the Galactic Core. The Star Stabilization Project, abandoned by human scientists, was showing signs of failure. The council's best minds couldn't understand the half-finished work. They couldn't continue what the humans had begun. "We need them back," admitted the science minister. "Our civilization has built itself around their innovations, their solutions, their work. Without them..." But Earth's response to all messages remained the same. "We welcome diplomatic and trade relations with individual species outside council control. All other messages will be archived without response." Some council members suggested using force. They quickly discovered that their maps of human space were now useless. Their best sensors couldn't penetrate whatever shield humans had placed around their territory. Their fastest ships couldn't follow human vessels through the strange new jump points they used. "They were always ready," Smith said, watching another report of council authority crumbling. "While we tried to control them, they were quietly making sure we couldn't." The galaxy was learning an important lesson. Trying to hold back human progress was like trying to hold back the tide. In the end, the water always finds its way forward. This narrative paints a compelling picture of a galaxy where humanity, having outgrown the restrictive control of a galactic council, asserts its independence, and in doing so, reveals the true extent of its technological and intellectual prowess. The story showcases humanity's quiet preparation, their decision to walk away from the council, and how the galaxy's power dynamics shift as a result. The council, initially confident in its superiority, is forced to confront the reality that humanity's innovations were far ahead of their time. The human species had made sure to keep their advancements hidden, and when they chose to leave, the galaxy was left to grapple with the loss of their expertise, revealing just how dependent the council had been on humanity. The pivotal moments, such as the disabling of the council's fleet and the council's eventual realization of their own shortcomings, are masterfully done. It all leads to a shift in galactic governance, where instead of power struggles, The focus turns toward cooperation and shared growth. The new proposal by Earth to share their knowledge with all species, not just the Council, is a powerful message about unity, trust, and mutual progress.